like you wouldn't be, if you weren't struggling that badly, you'd be doing it definitely a bit of a quicker pace anyway. And she then turned that message rapidly to be like, look, you may have just gone a bit too far here.
And what were the thoughts in your head at this point in time when you sort of had that realization that she'd had that realization? What were the thoughts that were going through your head?
Probably disappointment.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I was so distraught and defeated. Just to get so far and yet still not get close.
Hey legends, welcome to another episode of the INTOCHANGE Podcast, and thanks for joining me, your host, Ben Lowe. Before we go any further, I do have a very small favor to ask, and that is if you have been enjoying the podcast, even just the slightest little bit, please can you go and hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to share this with just one of your friends, because as you know, the more eyes and ears we can get on the platform, the bigger and better guests I can bring for you guys, and in turn, the more value I'm going to be able to deliver. Now, over to the episode, I am joined by David Watto Watson, who is a good friend of mine and someone that is well known amongst the mega run community. Now, Watto has this energy about him and it just inspires people to want to do more for themselves. But after recently suffering from a DNF, or a did not finish, from his attempt at the Noosa 50k trail run, he took a bit of a hit to his confidence, and this actually made him really question about whether he was going to continue running. So we dive into the head noise and the obviously physical trauma that his body went through after suffering from this DNF, and what it took for him to jump back on the horse and start running again. It was a bit of a mental battle for him, and we go deep into this over this episode. So for anyone that's struggling out there with any kind of loss in life, that's really trying to get back to where they were, this is the episode you want to watch, because this really speaks leaps and bounds about his character. And the thing is, if he's capable of this, so is any single one of you guys that is watching. I'll see you over in the episode. Fancy finding you down this part of the woods, eh?
Yeah.
The old Brisbane side down on the Gold Coast.
Oh, it's the best time, isn't it?
It is, mate. It is, mate. So, mate, what do you find yourself on the Gold Coast for anyway? So you said you were down here running some trails this morning.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Just wanted to sort of get past a little bit of a mental barrier that I've been having a little bit recently from a previous race of mine where I didn't do all so good. And next year I'm wanting to really get stuck into ultras and really big ultras, but I hadn't even run a trail marathon as of yet. So I wanted to sort of beat that little mindset barrier that I had to myself and just see or prove that, yeah, okay, I can take care of a trail marathon. So now that it's done, I can get stuck into actually doing some ultras for it and building up to those for next year.
So for anyone that's not on the running scene, what is an ultra or even an ultra marathon? Tell us more about
that. Pretty much like anything over then a 42.2 kilometer distance.
Which is a marathon, right?
Which is a marathon. That then classifies, or that qualifies you to call yourself then running an ultra. So
42.3?
42.3, even that can pretty much be classified as then running an ultra. Usually everyone sort of just tends to go for 43 kilometers and above, and that's the ultra bracket. But you know, as if anyone has even got the conditioning and the training down pat to even run a marathon, like hats off to them if they can do anything more than that. If they've got the fuel in their tank, in their mindset to keep on going, I think you have earned some sort of right to call yourself, yeah, I've done that ultra.
A bit of an ultra runner type thing, right?
Exactly.
It's like a very exclusive little community, isn't it? They say what marathon's like 1% of the world.
Yeah.
And so ultra would be even a smaller minority than that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Even though like you could argue it's even becoming way more popular these days as well. But yeah, a very small group on this planet probably can call themselves, real true ultra runners, definitely.
All right, brother. Well, where did you find your passion for running? Because I guess that for me as a kid growing up, I was, throwing rocks at cars and breaking into houses and shit. So was it from childhood? What was growing up like for you?
To tell you the truth, actually, like growing up in Ireland, I couldn't stand running. Running's only really taken a hold, or I've certainly really found my niche for running in the past few years, starting in about 2020. But like growing up, I could not run to save my life, quite literally. I just hated cardio in general, didn't really watch my figure at all. Didn't focus on my nutrition. Everything like that you can just put an X through, like I did it and it just didn't work out well. I remember the times even in primary school for like cross country, we would do like a mile, which was 3 laps around our school oval, and I'd easily come second last, if not last, in the entire class. Yeah, there you go.
I ran for like 100 meters and walked the rest.
Yeah. Just like, don't get me wrong, I have always loved my sport. I love watching it, but certainly back when I was growing up, I could not run. I hated it. Didn't see the point in it. Yeah, just really detested any sort of actual sport where, like, I could, I was forced to sort of take part in. But I loved actually watching sports. Always been a big football or soccer, as it's mostly called out here. But yeah, like any sport, I could totally watch it. But playing it, yeah, growing up, I was always second last or one of the last kids also picked for picking teams, whatever it was. Just wasn't fit at all in any way, shape, or form. Definitely not even mindset wise or anything like that. I was growing up, I loved my gaming. Was always just, if school was finished for the week, sweet, the whole weekend, most of the time would just be spent sitting down, playing video games, and that was it. Nothing really physically challenging whatsoever.
Man, it's so funny you say that, because I was exactly the same. I literally spent the entire weekend, I'd be blowing up at my parents because they'd be trying to turn the TV off and all sorts of shit, but I was there playing PlayStation, I was there playing computer games. That was my life as a kid. But now, obviously, you find yourself as, a competitive athlete when it comes to running. So what was the, transition into that for you? Like, was there a point in your life where you're like, I need to do something different? Was it, you found the gym, then found running? What was it like for you?
Yeah, probably like the big turning point was actually like myself and my family emigrating out to Australia in 2008, and just being amongst.
What age is that, sorry, bro?
I would have been 13 at that time.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, so just starting my teenage years and having a whole shift in terms of just community sport, but also just the lifestyle, the culture that is, Australia and Queensland more specifically. I did moved out immediately and emigrated to the GC, where I went through schooling and everything else since then. Yeah, like just having, not having like over 200 days of the year where it's cold, it's wet, it's always raining, it's dull, it's just like immediately my hat goes off to people back in Ireland who who can just put up with it and like get going. And I can see the mindset, the mind of steel that you can develop from always then pushing yourself, especially when even weather conditions aren't in your favor. It's so easy, like certainly in Queensland for majority of the year, to just be like, oh, okay, look, it's a good day, let's go for a run anyway. And then whenever you have the days that aren't so great, you notice obviously that there's not that many people then out hitting the pavement anyway. So, I mean, I see certainly my bringing up now is almost like a shield almost to then do the things that other people find a little bit uncomfortable doing in terms of weather conditions. They may think, oh, it's a bit of a per day. I think I'll leave it, or instead of doing a run, I'll go to the gym or something, just some sort of substitute. Yeah. Whereas now I'm just like, oh, that's a beautiful day in Ireland. Let's do it. Let's go. But so the whole cultural shift, and especially lifestyle wise, of always then being able to enjoy sport actually, because you weren't completely freezing, you weren't soaking to the bone. I was soaked, but I was just soaked in sweat instead. Every single day at school, or certainly majority of the time, whenever there was a break, I would be playing some sort of sport. So I'd be playing basketball, football, whatever it was. Just loved actually getting amongst it. Wasn't all that great, but I just enjoyed being part of an actual team, being part of a sport. And some of the mates that I played with were just so easygoing as well. And they just loved, obviously, everyone loved being around each other. Yeah. So having that, obviously building a bit of a community also was just really what I was wanting to get stuck into, obviously from immigrating out from Ireland. And then every single day out, like after school, I would just walk home all the time. I would that would be like a 4 or 5K walk home. And then I would even just bypass home and go straight to the gym. And I would literally spend the entire gym time, 45 minutes to an hour, just on the tread machine. And that was it. And then I would just walk back home. So cardio just all of a sudden, like a switch had been flipped, and I just changed the whole attitude towards it and went then, like, compared to what I was back in Ireland, next level.
Yeah.
In terms of it. And then I still didn't focus at all on my nutrition. Definitely like didn't focus on just putting the right stuff into the body, but cardio itself just really sort of took care of a lot of like trimming down. And then sort of like around the year 10, year 11 stage of high school, I was getting definitely better cardio wise. And like if there was a 5K park run or a 2.5K run, I'd be pretty decent at it. Still wouldn't get a great time, but I would be a lot better than what I was. And then sort of when I was coming near the end of the school phase, everyone else, you know, all of my mates were actually going to the gym and they were throwing iron about. And I was then, instead of being the chubby kid, I was the stick figure. And I was like, oh, what am I doing right now? So I sort of dropped cardio altogether. And then still didn't focus on my nutrition, but just went and just worked on weights and like then put on quite a bit of mass, but a lot of it unfortunately still centered around my gut.
Yeah.
And it wasn't healthy gut weight at all. So I wasn't still all that confident in myself. So I thought, no, this isn't for me. I do want to get back into more of a running scene. So I did try to get back into running, but because I'd been so used to running when I was so thin, then the amount of weight I put on actually led to quite horrific injuries, which was shin splints. And there's even a time, I still have it as a post on my Instagram page, and I keep it there just so I can never actually get too complacent, because it pops up every once in a while in a memory. And it was a 5.7K run or whatever it was. And I remember that run and I couldn't even finish it running. Just the shin splints were that poor and that bad. The pain was quite surreal. So it's just a reminder to never let myself get too complacent with it, because I know it feels crap. When you, like from where I am now, back then it felt so bad to not even complete a 5.7K run when you're in, because you're just dealing with that much pain. So yeah, like it's been a huge roller coaster, but so is everything in life. You have your valleys, you have your peaks, and you just learn, you're constantly learning from the experience of it anyway. And then like, eventually, obviously, after that race, really started to focus on my nutrition, what I could do to sort of just trim down a little bit more without using too much cardio at all. And I did focus then on just like, you know, just the basic fundamentals. There was nothing absolutely mind-blowing or nothing that I just stuck to specifically. I just kept consistent with just the good basics for it. And over time, then was able to not only like shed a bit of the excess weight, but then also just get the strength back into the legs, where I could then continue to run a bit and then keep pumping up the distances that bit further each time that I wanted to go out. And then once COVID hit in Queensland, which was around that March 2020 section anyway, and the gyms all shut for about that 2 to 3 month period, I said to myself, right, okay, look, can't really go to the gym. The only thing really I can do to sort of keep some sort of just basic fitness was just to go for a run. And so probably 5 or 6 out of those 7 days for those 3 months, I would just get out and do a 10K run at the very minimum.
It's a lot of Ks, bro. It's a lot of Ks.
Yeah.
Ks, man. But something I heard coming up there, okay, back to, I guess, when you did move over here and previous to moving over here. So when you're at home, you would, I guess, not really do much, and that was environmental. When you moved out here, you started doing a lot more, and it was environmental. It sounds like your environment has been a big influence in your life. So where you currently let's try that in English. Where you currently are, as opposed to then growing up in Scotland, has been a big impact for you to actually, I guess, really take fitness seriously, right?
Yeah. Apart from the fact Scotland, I was in Ireland.
Ireland, my bad. Sorry, bro. Yeah,
It's all good.
Yeah.
They're close enough anyway.
That name is right.
The accents there anyway.
Yeah.
Mate. The environment was a big factor, and like it wasn't even a huge change anyway. I would still like be at the gym after school, after like walking home, everything else. And then if like homework was done, or I got a bit of my homework done anyway, I would still then spend an hour or two still on the video games with mates as well. And literally just over time, I suppose, the more I've wanted to focus on my own physical health, then sort of just little habits like that have sort of they've continued to take more of a back seat until almost they're just out of the environment altogether. I still enjoy, don't get me wrong, I still like, well, maybe if I just need a bit of time just to sort of zone out altogether, I may hop on like YouTube and watch a bit of gameplay. Like there's still that little kid inside me that loves that sort of stuff, but to actually do it, I don't anymore. I really don't. It's just, there's just other priorities that I've made ahead of that at the moment.
Priorities like running.
Yeah, to name one at least, right? Anyway. Yeah.
How do you fit all this into your day-to-day life? Because you said that, at the moment you were, actually I think we were speaking about this off air, but you're training for ultra marathons. We did speak about that a little bit at the beginning. So I can imagine that a lot of your day would be taken up with training and recovery. How do you balance that with work and everything else?
Look, it's not easy. Probably if I was to put it down to one word, it would be sacrifice. And whatever that may be sacrificing time, that may be sacrificing spending events with family or friends, that may be sacrificing a bit of sleep. Like to get certainly to some decent level, I certainly find of any athlete, they've had to sacrifice something to get to where they're at. But like, I still feel like I do have a fairly decent balance. Maybe a few friends would probably disagree with that, as they may find that all the times they see me or they ask what I'm doing, I simply say I'm training or running.
When running or training is life, that's how it is.
Exactly. Look, I still think there's still a decent amount of balance. Like I have worked on a decent sort of nighttime routine to sort of just calm me at the end of the day so I can get into a good state of restfulness and sleep. And then like in the morning, sort of, I just need to get up and do something. Like there's a very big coffee culture in Australia.
Massively, bro.
And I don't get me wrong, I enjoy an occasional coffee from time to time as well. But a lot of people, like as soon as they wake up, they're like, okay, yeah, I need my morning coffee, and then I'm good to go.
That's right. They identify with needing that coffee to start their day.
Yeah,
man.
For me though, and certainly for a couple of my mates that I do a lot of the training with, we're like, we don't need that coffee hit, but we need a physical hit of energy. And we're like, instead of thinking, oh my God, okay, I've just woken up, I need my coffee and then I'm good to go to start the day. We're like, no, we need to actually have a run. We need to have some sort of movement to be like, okay, now I'm good to start the day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all like, I'm no scientist or a biologist by any means, but it's all just like, sort of trying to get more natural stimulants to really kickstart our body at the very beginning of the day. And I just need to do something anyway. Probably that's a little bit of a downfall of my own behalf, and going back to what you meant by balance, I definitely could do with taking an actual rest day.
What's that?
Yeah, right?
I'm doing 75 hard. I've got 2 days left, bro. My body's telling me. It's like, bro,
no way.
Just take a day. I'm like, no, not happening, bro. I'm like, my body is sore, man.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, credit to you and credit to everyone else that's done 75 hard. I haven't even begun to try that yet.
You've done a heap of other shit, bro.
Yeah. Well,
let's just talk Goggins challenge, but not like once, like multiple times.
Yeah, there was those challenges to it as well, definitely. But yeah, like I still do feel certainly like, you know, a rest day, I couldn't agree more, is just as important as an actual day of training. I definitely should try and implement that a lot more. I personally can't stand a rest day. I usually will treat it as like an active recovery day.
Nothing wrong with that, bit of yoga or something, right?
Sure.
A bit of a light run, maybe a little bit lighter.
Yeah, look, an active, probably the lowest amount of exercise on an active recovery day for me is still getting my 10 to 12,000 steps in a day, and also probably like a 30-minute swim.
Yeah, okay, cool.
That's about
no impact on the body. You're probably not going too hard, I'd assume.
I definitely not. I am not a great swimmer at all. It's definitely on the Fitness Pal. I mark it as a moderate or light swim, not vigorous.
I'm single, bro. I'm not a swimmer.
Oh my, mate, it's pretty insane. But no, you're absolutely right, because it's low impact on the body. Like that is probably the closest it comes then to an active recovery day for me. But I definitely should try and implement a lot more of the time anyway, at just a single rest day anyway. But yeah, honestly, again, it just comes back to how good I feel on the day. And most of the time I'm always feeling like, yes, I can do it. Like there's nothing really holding me back.
Yeah.
So just go on with it. Don't get me wrong. The days where I'm under the weather or I'm sick, yeah, totally. Then that is a day just, you know, get a couple of thousand steps in, if even that. But other than like actually being sick or under the weather, I won't really take a rest day, because physically I, like at the moment in time, I just don't need it.
Yeah.
At all.
Now, this is something I want to ask you, is actually around an event that happened. I think it was last year or earlier this year with the DNF.
Yeah. Earlier this year, so a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Or just even, I think it was just actually last month.
And that was a trail run, right?
Yeah. So
it did not finish, which means you didn't finish the race. Now, with that, going into that race, you were coming off the back end of a half marathon and a full marathon that weekend, right? So was this one of those points where your body was maybe telling you that, hey, I should probably pull back here and give myself time to recover? Or was there not even that sort of insight within you?
Probably looking back on it now, there wasn't really that insight on it at all.
Because you've just pushed through the pain in the past, right?
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Like with the Goggins challenges, yeah, it just it was just sort of, okay, look, it's done. Let's move on to the next thing. What can we keep going? What can we keep on proving to sort of just like not to anyone else, just to ourselves? Like what can we really find is our next like sort of close to breaking point, if even I'm going to get to that.
Yeah.
And then the DNF then was the result of that. So the weekend prior was competing and taking part in the GC half marathon, and then the very next day taking part in the GC full marathon. And then the very next weekend was the Brisbane Trail Ultra 62 kilometer race.
Big race, man, especially through trail.
Yeah. Like a couple of friends, one specifically, had done it that consecutive sort of events last year, and it honestly gave me such a belief, not like in myself, that look, if someone can do it, it's like it's not impossible. Like I definitely want to see if I can do it.
Yeah.
And just unfortunately on that day, nothing went right for me. Like when you're in the trails, and especially in trail racing, majority of the stuff doesn't go your way. Just for me personally, it completely like broke me down, not only physically, but then mentally as well.
Yeah.
Like I just, I just didn't want to be in that space anymore. When I was really just like down on the ground, completely broken altogether, and there was nowhere near an end point in sight during that race. And the mental toll, even though it was absolutely amazing to do the GC half and the GC full and do back-to-back races, which I'd never done before, the high from that almost just took it out of me entirely. And then to back it up inside a week, then the following Saturday for my first ever attempt at a 62 kilometer ultra in the trails, like, yeah, I was still mentally alone, just sort of trying to recuperate and emotionally trying to recuperate actually from that big weekend. Even though it was such a high, it also just took it out of me entirely. And then, yeah, like, the trail race itself, like, stacked it, unfortunately, inside the first 300 meters, got cuts all on my left knee, which had happened to me before. It happens in the trails.
Yeah, sure.
Just, like, I picked myself up, kept on going. Then the very first checkpoint, which is only like 13 Ks in, like, realized that there was blood streaking out of the knee. But I mean, like, it just went downhill from there. I just thought, great. Okay, something else I'm going to have to contend with during this race. But then it just progressively deteriorated the rest of that event. Like, and it was nothing, like, conditions wise, it was a fine day. Like, there wasn't any rain that was, like, putting even more of a damper on the mood. It wasn't overly hot. It just mentally, and then, like, the more I kept persevering through the trail, then physically I got worse. Mentally, I then got even worse from that.
Yep.
And, like, I remember I think I got around to the 30 kilometer mark, and I was just feeling so down and defeated. And I called up even my mum because I was hoping she would give me some sort of fuel. My mum,
little one-liner to get you through.
yeah, just something to I could really just latch onto and be like, okay, let's go. Because my mum and dad are always wanting me to, like, you know, keep on pushing myself, and they don't want me to give up at all, because they know what I can do and they know what I'm capable of as well. And like, I was on the phone to my mom, and I was, like, in tears, and I was like, Mom, I honestly can't do this anymore. We're, like, just coming up to the halfway mark. This is so tough right now. And she says, look, just see if you can get to the next checkpoint, and then keep going from that. And if you get the next one, that'll give you a bit more fuel, and keep going. And it's exactly what I was hoping for. And she says, like, how long have you been going for anyway? I said, I've been running for about 6 hours now anyway. And she's like, well, how long is it going to be till you finish? And I'm like, that's probably going to be another 6 hours, if not longer. And then that, like, almost then sort of just made her realize, oh crap, you're actually really struggling now.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't be, if you weren't struggling that badly, you'd be doing it definitely a bit of a quicker pace anyway. And she then turned that message rapidly to be like, look, you may have just gone a bit too far here.
And what were the thoughts in your head at this point in time when you sort of had that realization, that she'd had that realization? What were the thoughts that were going through your head?
Probably disappointment.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I was so distraught and defeated, just to get so far and yet still not get close, as well. And then especially to hear then my mom just be like, look, you may just need to pull back here and just say, look, it's been great so far, but some of these times it's more courage. You can have more courage to actually call it and just say, look, I've given it a shot, but right now I'm actually not where I need to be physically or mentally to take this on and get there into the finish line. And she said it takes a lot of courage to even realize that and actually then action it.
It's a big thing, especially as a man.
Yeah.
Like, it takes being vulnerable, and it takes you actually being authentic with yourself to realize, well, hey, like, this is probably going to do more harm than good. But for a lot of men, they still wouldn't walk away from that, bro. So that's a hard thing, man. Coming back from that, though, you're like, okay, what was the process of, because now you're back racing.
Yeah.
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 Like, and how far post are we now?
We're about roughly just over a month since that event.
So man, you're already back. You've done, sorry, I think you said 2 races
Two
off
races.
camera.
I literally, the very next weekend after the BTU, I had another half marathon race booked in. And funnily enough, coming up to that, especially the 2 days, like the 48 hours after the DNF, like mindset wise, and certainly just like my mental talk, I was just thinking, okay, look, maybe just your niche is going to be marathons and half marathons. You've done so well at those events, and then all of a sudden, you've just been brought back to rock bottom. Maybe those events just aren't going to be for you, and like that's going to be your limit, and you're not going to progress any further than that.
Funny how that little, like, I guess like that negative self-talk starts to kick in, right?
Yeah.
It's like almost trying to protect you.
Yeah. It's totally. So there was a lot of that. There was a lot of like just down time over those next 48 hours after the race, being like, look, am I actually like, how can people even just take what I say about races seriously when I've like just received a DNF?
Yeah, a bit of that imposter syndrome going on.
Yeah, totally. I definitely thought about that, and just everything. Like, I mean, everything I've done up in the lead to that point, I've always been able to practice what I preach. Like, I always feel, your actions speak far much more than words ever do, and I've always been able to back that up with my actions.
Bro, yeah.
And then this just all of a sudden just knocked me right back, and that event was just like, yeah, mate, you've done well so far, but you are so not ready for this. You shouldn't be doing this at all, and yeah, you've really just shot yourself in the foot altogether. So all that for those like next 48 hours was, yeah, pretty sobering.
Yeah, pretty heavy, bro.
Yeah. But like I had the next race locked in. It was booked. I had a couple of chats with a couple of my close mates, and they even said, look, maybe you may just want to actually also cancel that race and just collect yourself. Think about that. And there's no shame if you also just want to have a bit of time as well, because the event's also probably saying to you, you need to actually just have a rest right now. You honestly, you've done a lot. You just need to rest up. And I really did consider like just not even taking part in the race, which was going to be the Jetty to Jetty event. But I had a couple of other chats with other people, other mates that were doing the race, so I was still keen to see them, and I went ahead and did that race anyway, on that the following weekend, and still I got a very decent time in the course, which is what I was after. I was still after a certain time anyway. I wasn't one to just take part just for the sake of taking part. I did actually have a goal that I wanted to get, which was to still be keeping inside the 100 minutes for a half marathon, which I did on the event day. And like, as soon as I crossed the finish line, even though it was a half marathon, as soon as I crossed the finish line, just the whole relief of just being
even
okay.
Though it's just a half marathon, bro. A half marathon. Not many people in their lives run half marathons, let alone full marathons, let alone trails, bro. So this is the thing, bro. You got to give yourself some credit. Yeah, like after the ordeal of the previous weekend, but I can understand that relief, because it's almost like you're reiterating to yourself that you are capable. Right?
Yeah.
By doing that race the weekend following, it's you reiterating to yourself and proving to yourself that, yeah, you can do this. After all that negative self-talk, right?
That was it. That was entirely it.
And that feeling, man, would have been fucking so surreal.
It was. It really was, mate. Like, I bumped into the mates like at the start of the race, and a few of them obviously had known what I'd just gone through the weekend prior, and like there was obviously a few hugs shared, and just like, mate, look, these things happen. Some of a piece of advice I got from a mate of mine was some of the best runners on the planet have had DNFs.
Nice.
So honestly, like, there's nothing to be upset about. You just keep on get back on to the habits that led you to where you got to, and you just got to then keep progressing forward. And then, getting through and getting that getting past the finish line. Yeah, just the relief that, okay, look, you know what, I still love this game. Like, this is my niche. Like, I definitely want to keep on with it.
Were there thoughts there at any point in time where you're like, maybe I just should stop running at all, or anything like that?
Very, very briefly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna deny it. Yeah, it was there for a very brief second. Because if I was to then take part in that race and all of a sudden again, like, come up even worse on that, I'd be thinking, okay, something's really not right here. All of a sudden, like, even my mindset was coming up to the half marathon. Look, let's just do the half marathon in a certain time. And I even thought to myself, if I even stop on this half marathon just to walk a little bit, like, that's going to be even if I finish it, that's going to be a defeat still for me. Like, that's going to be another dagger.
Yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be another, like, part of the standard that I've tried to uphold. It's going to be broken down and taken away from me again, and I'm going to need to try and rebuild it back up and put another piece back on the puzzle of where it's at. So, yeah, like, I was very grateful that I did sort of just bottle up the emotion and take part then in the very next race, the weekend straight afterward. And it gave me just that little bit of relief and a little bit of confidence back to be like, okay, look, you know, you had a bad event. It's not the end of the world. Okay, get over yourself and get on with it again. Just take it easy, but you're fine. Yep. Honestly, you are fine to continue to be part of this sort of community anyway.
And so now, a month later, and you ran your first trail marathon yesterday.
Yeah. So, like, I've since that huge DNF, I've actually just been finding myself a lot more training and conditioning in the trails to get better into it, and I'm finding it's like a lot more fun as well. So there's more of a passion, there's more of a fire that's continuously burning up. And I did a half marathon trail race a couple of weekends ago. Again, that gave me even more fuel to the fire, more confidence. Okay, got then another trail race in the bag, finished it, was very happy with it. And then, yesterday finished up doing my first ever trail marathon with it wasn't an event. It was honestly it was my own personal event. Yeah. It was like, there was no accolades, there was no pacers, there was nothing else, no one around anywhere else. I just wanted to, look, let's just do this. Sometimes you just have to do the journey by yourself.
Just immerse yourself in it.
Exactly. Just lose yourself with the process, lose yourself in the steps, your building blocks, your foundations, and continue on down your pathway with it.
100%, man. So I think that's a great metaphor for not just running, but anything in life, right? There's a lot of times in life where we'll find that we might take a loss, right? And a lot of people struggle to come back from that. So what would be, I guess, a piece of advice that you would use for yourself that you could give to other people for any area of life, whether it be, you know, losing a business, losing a loved one, losing a family friend, whatever it might be, losing a race, taking a knockout, getting knocked out in a boxing fight. Been there. It fucking sucks, bro. But what would be, I guess, your biggest piece of advice? What would be the pearl you'd give to someone to help them to overcome that? Because I think that's it could be really detrimental, but it could also be such a positive building block towards their future.
Yeah. A piece of advice.
What was the thing that got you through it?
Not wanting to be seen as a quitter.
Okay. And what does that mean to you?
It's sort of like a piece of my identity.
Right.
And my words almost, that like, you know, that I want to take my own words seriously. Like people can ask for my advice. I'm more than happy to share it. But like the advice that I want to give to myself and the words that I want to portray as my identity, and also then I can share with other people, like my word, I certainly feel like means a lot to myself.
So like keeping your promises to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's huge. I think that's a really important thing to actually, I guess, you know, go a little bit deeper into, because this is a thing, all right? Like we can say, you know, I'm going to do something for someone else, I'm going to do this for them, but, you know, it's easy to break a promise to someone else. You break a promise to yourself, you're then losing faith in yourself, which means other people are going to lose faith in you as well. So it's like you said, a big part of your identity.
Yeah.
So does it feel like now, after, I guess, being able to traverse through that, you've been able to, I guess, claim that part of your identity back?
Yeah. It's still not like completely repaired, and I don't think it will be until I try and give like the race same race, the exact same race, a shot next year.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving it as it's been left so far. Like that's not the end of that chapter.
Yeah.
For my life. Like we're definitely going to use that as a survival chapter, like later on in the process. But right now,
adversity, right?
That chapter is not finished yet. Like there's work to be done, and I'm definitely gonna give it another shot, definitely, and I'll be better for the experience and wiser from it. Definitely. But yeah, like in terms though of like my advice of what I could give someone, probably would be just to give time. I certainly do believe time like heals most, if not all, wounds, but you don't want to like at the same time take too much time to sort of dwell on it as well.
Yeah.
I've always been a big believer, and one of my mentors always taught me to discipline my disappointments. So if something that you were hoping for doesn't come to fruition, like, yes, okay, be disappointed about it, sure, but be disappointed for it for, you know, instead of what a lot of people may do and be disappointed about it for a week.
Yeah.
Be disappointed for a day. If
that's right.
people are going to be disappointed, like if the general people are going to be disappointed about it for 30 minutes, you take 3 minutes to be disappointed about it. Like take a bit of time to see where you could have gone right, where you could have gone better, but don't dwell on it as well, because dwelling on it can feed more negative self-talk.
Yeah.
And then when you get down that rabbit hole, like that's tough as well. Another piece of advice, though, I definitely want to give to other people. I had quite a few people weirdly message me after that and be like, look, mate, you were so good to give it your best all out there and you left it all on the table. I actually want to get to where you got to and see where my breaking point is. And I thought to myself, like, credit to you if you honestly do want to get there, but be prepared to be in a very, very, very uncomfortable situation. It's not pretty.
There's pushing barriers and there's breaking boundaries, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I think
exactly.
That's a good thing to bring attention to as well, man. Like, you're running out there, you're going out there for these runs. It's no small thing. You're putting your body on the line. But there are serious consequences. I mean, look at the guy that passed away from the Gold Coast Marathon. You know, rest his soul, man. Like, there is literally like bodies on the line here with this sort of shit. So that brings me to my next question, bro. A lot of people probably look at us and think you guys are fucking maniacs. What's wrong with you? What is running for you? What does it do for you, brother?
For me, mate, like there's different. Not every day is the exact same.
Not about it though. I love the variety.
No day's the exact same. Some days, like it's on like whatever training program it is, and honestly, I can't stand it, but it's part of the program, so I'll just do it and get it done, get it over with anyway. I've made sure at least those types of runs there where I don't want to do it, but I still show up and get it done, those are the days where I just make sure, like, I'm saying back to myself, okay, look, I know I do want this goal. Whatever this training run is designed to do, it's going to help me achieve my goal. So I'm making sure,
set out to do, right?
exactly, I'm making sure that the goal I have, it is the correct goal that I'm going after anyway, and I do want to make an attempt to try and reach that goal. Yeah. So those sort of types of runs, those ones are designed for that. There's other runs where honestly, I love it, and I'm just like, look, that was honestly just what I needed. And those types of runs are maybe when I'm just by myself, I can just sort of focus on my own like breathing, my own pace, my cadence, everything else. It's just me on the roads, in the trails, whatever it is. Just being in the moment with where I'm at, how far I've come from as well, and just really enjoying actually being still like being grateful for being able to just move my body as well. Like I'm a big advocate on just the attitude of gratitude.
100%, bro.
Just making sure that I'm grateful every day that, look, okay, this run's going to suck, but there's a lot of people out there that don't have even the ability to run.
And it's that little shift, right? That little shift that gets you out there every day. Even when it is raining, even when it is, it might not be ideal. You might be a little bit sore, but those little thoughts like that are what get you out of bed and get you doing that shit, man.
Yeah, exactly. So there's sort of, they can go either way. Some of the runs that are bad, they do sort of just then make me realize, okay, look, it's going to be tough, but we'll get it done because we want to get to that goal. And other runs where I just really enjoy it are sort of just like a meditation process for me.
Yeah.
And just really like hone down and again, reflect on either where I'm going or where I've come from as well for it.
I find sometimes that those runs you don't want to do and you get out there and do them anyway, sometimes some of the best.
They are.
Because it's like you've overcome something big, right? Like everyone wants to go to the gym when there's, a nice piece of booty in there, But when you're rocking up and it's all blokes and it's cold and you don't want to get out of bed anyway, it's like, well, this is shit. But then you always leave feeling fucking amazing. It's like the same with running, right? Like you might feel like shit, but you get out there, you hit the pavement, and once you get out of your head after the first couple of Ks, it usually takes me like 3 to 5 Ks, depending on how like beat up my body's feeling at the moment. Pretty beat up.
Yeah.
But once you get out there and get it done, you come back, you really actually overcome something. It's like that's the hardest part of your day. So back to what you're saying about the morning routine, I think that's why exercise is such an important thing to start the day with. You've literally just done the hardest thing that you're going to do throughout the day. It's going to be smooth sailing from there, right?
Pretty much, definitely, Usually, I mean, like, even though that's the session done, I'll probably have usually an afternoon session anyway lined up. But at least one of those,
75 hard.
at least one of those sessions is done. It's taken care of, and now I don't have to sort of try and fit it in later on in the day anyway. Like, I mean, again, obviously everyone you need to do what you're comfortable with. If you're not a morning person, and you're just like a night owl and you have all your energy at nighttime, obviously it's going to be even worse to try and do something in the morning. But I'm a big morning person. So
what time do you get up?
I mean, usually somewhere around 4:35. I'm a big morning person, so I definitely need to get at least some sort of exercise session in the morning instead of leaving it all to the day. And if I have a bad day at work, then I feel even worse because I just don't want to even go train.
It's like you said about the coffee, right? People take their coffee to feel good. We do exercise. It releases dopamine, So exercise releases about the same amount of dopamine as coffee, right? I think a little bit more. A cold shower releases more dopamine. So cold shower, exercise, that for me is like a non-negotiable in the morning.
Like cold shower is ridiculously negotiable for me. Too many years of cold rain in Ireland sort of just made it that little bit worse anyway.
Yeah, but everyone's got their thing, right?
I definitely need to get better with actually getting into more cold therapy and ice baths and everything else. It's so beneficial. It's so beneficial for you, but I still don't enjoy a cold shower all that much.
Look, once again, it's one of those things. I don't enjoy it at the time, but I know how good it's going to feel afterwards. So I'm just smiling and gritting my teeth.
True. Yes. That's a good point. Yes.
It's the same. Like a lot of people I take skydiving for the first time, they're thinking about how scared they are, and I'm just saying to them, look, at the end of the day, you're going to land on the ground, you're going to feel 10 feet taller, and the feeling that you're going to get is going to be unbeatable. You're never going to be able to have that same feeling again. No drug, no nothing is ever going to give you the same feeling. And they hit the ground and they know exactly what I'm talking about. And that's what gets them through that fear. It's the feeling of after, right? It's the same thing with anything in life, right? That little bit of fear that you have, that little bit of discomfort that you might have to go through. Shit, yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable. Generally, on the other side of that discomfort is where the best things in life happen. The feeling after completing a marathon, the feeling after completing any kind of race, right? That feeling afterwards, you've gone through the adversity, you do the thing, and then you feel fucking incredible, right?
Yeah. I can't really say anything much more than that. That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
What's on the cards for the next couple of years for you, bro? Running wise, Watto wise, just life in general, bro. What's on the cards? Because I've seen you've been getting over to Hawaii a couple of times in the last few years.
That actually,
treating yourself?
Yeah, those little trips are actually my idea of rest and recovery. So a little holiday away
Still
is
running while you're over there, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's a good way to explore. Mate, like goals then coming up anyway. I obviously want to hopefully, like, fingers crossed, get all my races done for the rest of this year, which will be.
How many have you got?
I think I've got 4 actual race events and then 2 other events which are like charity events. Yeah, cool. So 6 all up. So far, touch wood, more than likely I'll end up signing up for at least 2 more just because I'll take them as a training run and I'll just do the event.
And to go anyway somewhere because I want to do it.
Look, I'm not going to say no.
Amazing.
If you need someone, I'm not going to say no anyway, even though I know what it's like. But so like that's certainly the most immediate goal. Is that next year's goals? Yeah, are definitely going to be focused a lot more on much bigger events, and a lot of them being trail running.
Talking about trail ultras before.
Yeah, definitely get a couple of those then added to the resume anyway. Potentially would also like to give a shot at a triathlon next year. Really need to start focusing work on the bike, which is a big like barrier for me. Can't stand cycling. But anyway, that's not that's all part of the process to sort of try and break it down. And then any other like personal goals as well. Mate, it's honestly just gonna try and be focusing on like becoming more like there's different sort of goals I have, certainly in terms of like spiritual wise. Definitely want to just improve more. Like just more of my own like grounding almost, of just the person that I want to be, the person I want to, like, you know, other people, what I represent mostly. Like, you know, I just want to I just want to be like, what's the word I'm looking for here? So someone that, like, you know, you can rely on.
Yeah. So is that what you say you would represent? Well, when you say like what
trustworthy.
So your values.
Yeah.
Living in accordance with your values.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So someone that's gonna have your back, no matter what it's gonna be up against.
You say
like
that's your highest value?
Yeah, I'd say so. Someone that's just gonna be in your corner. Loyalty. Loyalty to anything, really. I certainly hold that quite high up on my scale, just being loyal.
Yeah. So when you say like spirituality and I guess living in more accordance with that, what would that look like for you? What does that mean to you?
I definitely want to improve a lot more, like in terms of yoga, like meditations. Really want to keep on delving into like my reading goals, and especially focus that more on actual like spirituality. Focusing a lot more on like law of attraction. I'm a big advocate for that. I really believe, you know, you attract everything into your life. If you try and chase it more, it sort of gets that little bit further away.
Yeah.
Whereas if you, like, you know, attract other things in your life by actually working on those goals to become what you want to seek out.
The law of attraction to me is something different. So you've heard of the RAS?
No.
Reticular activating system? It's a part
No.
of the brain. So the part of the brain that pretty much filters everything out. Now, the law of attraction is, it goes obviously putting out those thoughts and those feelings to bring back, whatever you want to bring back. So that means that if you're focusing on something you don't want, you're also going to bring that into your awareness, because what will happen is your brain will start to notice the things that align with that belief that you have around not wanting to have that thing. So this is where the law of attraction can get tricky, because people think, okay, cool, like, yeah, I just need to go and chase this. But no, it's the thoughts, the feelings, and the emotions that you put into it as well. So, for instance, if I say, I had to get a speeding ticket, you're focusing on what you don't want, you're going to end up getting one of those things. Yeah?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right?
Oh, right.
So the law of attraction, man, is about really focusing on the things you do want and then doing everything you can to bring those things into your field, right? And the thing is, the body will start to present things to you so that you can start to see those experiences and those opportunities.
Yeah.
If you say that all men are shit, right? Or let's say as a female, that you say all men are the same, all men are the same, all men are the same, girls will only see things to reiterate that belief to themselves. And that's what the law of attraction is about. If you say, I don't deserve this, I've got a shit memory, I'm weak as piss, you're going to continue to do things to bring those things into your awareness and into your psyche, into your universe. So the law of attraction then, right, is about focusing on the things you do want and then bringing them into your awareness. So that RAS I was talking about, the reticular activating system, think about it as like the shit filter for the body. We take in anywhere up to, I think it's 60 billion bits of data at any 1 second, but we can only take in 20 million parts of that, right? This is data, whether it be thoughts, feelings, actions, not actions, the thoughts, feelings, sound, sight, all these sorts of things we hear. This is all data. Now, if we took in every little bit of that data, which is like the 60 billion bits of data around us at any one time, our brains would explode. So our bodies develop this thing called the RAS, which then helps us to reiterate what's important to us and whatnot. So if you're focusing on something that you say you don't want, you're still focusing on it. So the brain then goes, well, that's important to me, so I'm only going to see that thing. You missed out on all the opportunities for all the good in your life. And it's not that those opportunities aren't there. It's that because you're focusing on something else, you're not seeing them. But when you start to change your awareness and start to change what you focus on, let's just say you focus on gratitude, right?
Yeah.
Perfect example. When you start to focus on things you're grateful for, you'll start to find more things in your life. Get goosebumps. You'll start to find more things to be grateful for.
It's a good topic. Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
When you focus on the things you don't want and the things that aren't good in your life and the things that you haven't got, you'll only have those things that you haven't got and continue to have them. And that's what the law of attraction is all about.
That was good. That was really good.
I'm glad you enjoyed that.
That was good, mate. Yeah.
I love this shit, bro. This is the froth zone for me.
Yeah.
This stuff's what I live and breathe about. I fucking froth it. But that's the thing, man. Like we create our own reality, right?
Yeah.
And that is the truth. If you're coming at things from a lack and scarcity mindset, you're going to continue to have lack and scarcity in your life, whether it be around money, relationships, business, running, anything like that, right? So in turn, it's like you have to actually give back to yourself. And that there is why the law of attraction does work or it doesn't work. But it still works because it's just not working for you.
Yeah. Right. That's,
Is that one of them moments?
that is, literally. There. Oh my God. That was
Cool. I've
good.
got some good books for you to read, bro. You'll explore
Well,
that in a lot
mate,
more depth.
I love my reading. So
Yeah.
give them to me. I'll definitely get through them.
You're speaking
Love it.
before about mentors. Who are the people that you sort of look up to with, I guess, that sort of stuff? Obviously, Goggins. That's a given. But
Given.
who are the other people you take influence from, bro?
Definitely it'd be my parents.
Yeah.
Like big time. Some of the stories they've shared, certainly with me anyway, like growing up in Ireland when it was back in the days of the Troubles and things just were not great at all. Especially like even my dad, but certainly mom and dad, like both of them have friends that like unfortunately passed away in school because just times were really, really that tough, that violent. And like some of the stories that I've been told, I'm just like, oh my God, it's amazing that they're even alive to this day as well. Just
Makes
what
you
they
think, like, we've
what they
got
go
it
through.
easy, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, bro.
yeah, totally. Like so definitely mom and dad, and I've even asked them from time to time when I've thought, oh my God, like, there's things to do here, or like, oh, how am I going to make these sort of ends meet? Which is what a lot of people like these days are also struggling with, is certainly like with cost of living, things like that.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I'm just like,
backed up every year.
I've asked them before. I'm just like, how did you guys do it? Because like they were not only like trying to like make a living for themselves, they were also trying to take care of myself and my two elder sisters. And I'm so sometimes I struggle to even just like try and make ends meet from myself, get it done.
Eat potatoes.
Yeah. That's it. And so like I look to them definitely, and I've asked them like, what did you guys do? And they gave me such a nonchalantly plain answer. It was just, look, you just gotta get on with it during the day, and at the end of the day, hope that tomorrow the work you've done will lead into a slightly better future the next day, and the next day, and the next day.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's doing the work, and again, just being like, look, okay, it's tough, but get over yourself. It's not going to get any better if you keep complaining about it. So, okay, it may be shit, sure, I'm not going to deny that, but you giving excuses isn't going to help it. You've just got to grit your teeth for however long it's going to be, and just do the work, do the math, solve the problems. Yeah. Eventually, life is just going to say, okay, look, we've given you enough crap. You're going to take it on the chin. You're going to get on with it. We'll stop bugging you for a bit.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll come back. No, it's not. We'll come back to you. But for now, fine. We've given you all these challenges. You've made your own way out, and you've come out the other side.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay, cool.
That's a really cool lesson to get from your parents, man.
Yeah.
It's a really cool fucking lesson, man. I love it.
So, yeah, definitely parents, and my sisters obviously as well, for like similar as well to that as well. They're starting their families as well. So yeah, like family in general, I definitely take a lot from them. Definitely.
Love it. Now, what if people want to find you, brother? Where can they find you?
I mean, they'll usually see me out in the road or the trails anyway. I'm usually not all that secluded anyway at all. So anywhere out, most of the time I'm always in Brizzy anyway. In Brizzy, usually around the CBD or out by the Bayside, doing some sort of training anyway.
Instagram, all that sort of stuff.
Instagram, Watto24 is what I'm on, and that actually came about from two parts. The 24 came about. 24 was probably my best year. I don't know why. Just everything seemed to go well for me. Loved being 24.
Yeah.
You had a certain degree of responsibility at the same time you didn't.
Yeah.
But it was just smooth sailing. Everything just went really well in terms of life, mental health, everything. 24 was good, and 24 then also started like whenever I started to really get into my fitness, and I sort of like called myself sort of, which I've taken to another level altogether, but I said to myself, I would love to be like a 24-hour athlete where I would just, no matter what time it was during the day, I would be happy to go out for a run, walk, whatever it is. And I sort of have still, I've sort of become like a self-fulfilling prophecy almost. I've sort of just developed into that guy where just whatever time it is, it doesn't really faze me. I'm happy to do some sort of athletic fitness sport, you name it. I'm game for it. Let's go. So yeah, Watto24 most of the time is where I'm on Insta and Facebook, obviously. David Watson, that's me. So on the socials you can find me there, but in all honesty, like, send me a message. I'm more than happy to actually catch up in person instead of on socials.
Yeah, loud and clear, bro. And if you were to give everyone out there that maybe want to start running or getting into, I guess, the running scene, one piece of advice, what would be the biggest piece of advice you'd give to them?
Biggest piece of advice, I won't do anything like the basics of obviously like get a proper set of shoes, things like that. But
a proper set of shoes. Do that though.
Yeah, definitely do that. I see a lot of people certainly like they see other people along the journey that are definitely further ahead than them, and they think they want to get like to that level rapidly. You can't. In my opinion,
you'll get injured.
Well, that's exactly it. In my opinion, in my experience, it's better, certainly in terms of like running, to to take the long road. And what I mean by the long road, like, you definitely want to stay at a certain distance for a month at the very least. I see people that will do 10Ks one weekend and they've done a couple of runs in the lead up to that. And then 2 weeks down the track, they're thumping, half marathons back to back. Put your hand on.
That was me. And that was why I got very injured.
Well, exactly. Like, look, don't get me wrong.
Not back to back, but just even running straight from like a 10 into a 21.
Yeah. Like, most of the time injuries will come from that. And look, if you want to do that, by all means, crack on. You're going to learn and you won't do it.
Yep.
But the biggest learning step that I've certainly found is because we're almost to 2024. And like I started at the very beginning or close to of 2020.
2024.
Yeah.
Just let that sink in for a second.
Yeah. So like,
and when this gets released, we'll be even closer to 2024.
Exactly. Like we're almost to 2024, and like my running career has like started off pretty much a little bit at the end of 2019, started 2020. So like that's coming up on like 4 years where, it's just been constant week by week hitting the pavement at a certain amount of distance. And then I've built up to where I am now, where I can still obviously get injured, things like that, but I've made sure my compound effect has developed enough to get to where I am today. So I always would advise people just literally stick to a certain distance for a month, and then the next month just add on, like per week, that is, add on between 5 to 7Ks per week. And that's it. You don't need to go absolutely crazy. If you plan ahead well enough and set out a good amount of time, you can then do that and do it well. Yeah. And you will get very, very good results. Yeah, it's when people don't plan ahead and then all of a sudden it's 2 months out from a race and they just have to absolutely go crazy for it. Not to say you can't do it you can't do a race in 2 months. You can very well do a race in 2 months. 8 weeks of consistent, good nutrition, good training.
Nutrition recovery, right?
All that, 2 months is still a hell of a long time. If you're wanting a certain result, it's going to be quite difficult to achieve. Not impossible, but just difficult. So my advice would be definitely just take it easy, keep on slightly increasing your distances as you go along your running journey. Don't try and think, look, let's just hammer it all out as quickly as we can and almost sort of just read through the chapter quickly, but then you don't absolve any of it.
There's no overnight success when it comes to running.
No. And that's probably another reason why I love running so much.
Yeah.
Anyway, running certainly is one of the few sports where you get found out any point in time, if even it's on race day, as to whether you've done the proper training or not.
Yeah.
You don't see people go to the gym, smash out, a 60 kgs bench press. 2 weeks later, they're like, yeah, well, let's try 180.
Yeah.
No.
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. But people tend to think sometimes, yeah, we can do it with running.
Yeah.
Nah. You just can't. It's going to be tough. It's going to be bloody difficult, and you'll pick up an injury.
Your body will tell you.
Your body will tell you.
Yeah.
60 kilos squat 1 week, and then the next week, oh yeah, let's bump it up to 150.
Doesn't happen.
You're going to struggle to do that. You may get a rep in, and well done to you if that's what you're going for your 1RM. Yeah. You've hit the goal, but that's going to be tough.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be good for the body anyway.
That's it, long term, bro.
Exactly.
That, quick validation. I think that this culture and this day and age, a lot of, I guess, even ourselves, we're always looking for that quick validation.
Yeah.
Rather than actually doing the work. And I think social media and all these devices and things that we have now have made that so, I guess, accessible to us. It's like we see this overnight success. We see this guy that had no following the day before, now he's got 100,000 followers. We see this guy that, was only running this amount perceived to us the day before, and now he's running marathons. But they don't see the work that goes in behind it, bro. And that's the thing. I think big thing I just took out of what you said was do the fucking work.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Appreciate it, brother. Thanks,
mate. Love it.